Hey everybody, Dr. Clark here. I want to share with you something that amazed me the other day. I was sitting in a seminar, a very cold seminar room, and I was attending a seminar sponsored by a company that manufactures nutritional supplements. And I'm not going to tell you who it was, but I'll tell you that their initials are SP, so you may know who they are. Now, this company's got a very long history. The guy who founded the company was a brilliant inventor. I mean, this guy was a real genius. And they have some really good products. Problem is about 75% of their products contain an ingredient that I have a big problem with. So I go to this seminar mainly just to get continuing education credits. Sometimes those are hard to come by when you're as busy as I am, teaching and seeing people, running a practice and working with other doctors. So I went to go get these CE credits, and the seminar was called The Essentials of Nutritional Therapy. And I thought, hey, I'll probably learn something. And you know what I did? I did pick up quite a few things that were very useful. But I guess it was about day 2. And keep in mind, the room's like 60 degrees. It's incredibly cold. And there's like 300 people there. And the teacher is a guy who practices in California, been in practice for 20 years, well respected, has taught for this company in their seminars several times. And somebody asked him, hey, is there a problem with the wheat germ that's in your product? Do you have people are gluten sensitive? Do you have any people that react to that? And he goes, no, I've never had anybody react to that. I've had people take it and they tell me they don't have a reaction, so I've never had, people don't react to it. Really? That's really wrong. That's a completely backwards way to think about it. You don't always have a symptom to know if you're reacting to it or not. This is mind-blowing to me that this guy, with all this experience and all this knowledge, and he's supposed to be an expert and a teacher, doesn't know how gluten sensitivity really works. Gluten sensitivity works like this. You can have a gluten sensitivity for really one of 2 reasons. One, you have a genetic sensitivity to it. There are known genes that make you sensitive to gluten. Now, what does gluten sensitive mean? Being sensitive doesn't mean like you're emotionally sensitive. Sensitive means that your immune system recognizes the gluten as an invader and is going to try to kill it. And it's going to try to kill it by activating your immune system. That's what being gluten sensitive means. It's not a trivial thing by any means. So you can get a gluten sensitivity from being genetically sensitive to it, and there's an easy test to do to find out if you have those genes. Or you can develop it from having what we call a leaky gut. And leaky gut means that the intestinal lining in your small intestine is normally supposed to be, like this. Supposed to have very tight junctions between the cells. You kind of think of it like a Great Wall of China. It's supposed to keep things out. But because of a lot of different factors we won't go into today, those gaps in between the bricks can widen. And when that happens, things can go back down into your system that don't belong there. Protein particles from your diet are one of those things. So things like gluten, casein, soy, these major proteins, are frequently, when this happens, frequently recognized by your immune system as an invader and it tries to kill it. Now, what this doctor is perpetuating is this complete and total misunderstanding that to be gluten sensitive, you have to have some sort of GI symptom or any symptom. And that is completely false, completely wrong. In fact, the people that even have the most severe form of gluten sensitivity, celiac sprue, over half of those people don't have any GI or gastrointestinal symptoms at all. No bloating, no cramping, no diarrhea. That's because it's not a GI thing. It's an immune system thing. It's an inflammation thing. So when this guy stands up there in front of 300 doctors and says, oh, they didn't have a reaction to it, he doesn't know. He has no way of knowing if they had a reaction to it, and the patient has no way of knowing. The only way to know is to actually dissect out the immune system, do these different tests, and find out if you're having a real immunological reaction to it. Because gluten sensitivity, you're really lucky, I guess, if you have a symptom that you can monitor. And, I'd say probably 25, maybe 30% of people have a symptom when they eat gluten, and they can kind of monitor themselves and know when they get exposed to it. But at least 70% of you that are eating gluten on a daily basis and don't know that you're sensitive to it. Now, gluten is not the cause of everyone's problems, but I will tell you, when you see as many chronic sick people as I do, you realize and you find out very quickly that gluten sensitivity is a big, big problem for a lot of people. It's a big factor. So you got to test for it. And for this guy to stand up there and say that, it really it disheartens me, because now you got a room of 300 doctors, 300 healthcare professionals that are going to go out to their community and they're going to give people this stuff, and they're not going to know if they have a reaction. I mean, if you don't know, you could be contributing to that person developing multiple sclerosis, peripheral neuropathy, other autoimmune diseases 10, 15, 20 years down the road. That's how long it takes for some of these things to develop. And I guess if there's one thing I want you to walk away with today after listening to this podcast, is that you don't know if you're having a reaction or not. The only way to know is to get tested for it. And I can give you more information on that. But don't just assume because you don't have a symptom that you aren't reacting to it. That's the same problem you get into if people say, "Oh, I don't have a symptom. I must be fine." Well, for many of the top killers in America, there aren't any symptoms. I mean, breast cancer, for example. A woman doesn't have a symptom from that until the breast cancer tumor is extremely large. I mean, tooth decay. You don't know you have tooth decay until your tooth hurts. But the decay was happening before, wasn't it? It's the same thing with gluten sensitivity. You don't know you're having a reaction unless you're getting tested. Now, one day when you eat gluten and you all of a sudden get a symptom, count yourself lucky. But what will probably happen, if you don't catch it now, in 10, 15 years, maybe sooner or later, I don't know, you're going to start developing a problem. And it could be anything. Gluten sensitivity, because it's really about your immune system and inflammation, can manifest in 100 different ways. It can manifest as cognitive problems, osteoporosis, depression. I mean, the list goes on and on. So, takeaway point for you is, don't believe the hype when someone tells you, "Oh, I eat gluten and I'm fine." They don't know that. The real action step for you to do is get tested. Call my office or email me and I'll give you the information on how to get tested for that. And as a side note, if you really want to just feel a lot better, I can almost guarantee that if you go on a gluten-free diet, and I have a lot of resources I can help you with that. If you want to go on a gluten-free diet, I would bet 90% of you listening to this will feel better overall. I don't care what the problem is, or if you don't have any problems. I can almost guarantee you will feel better. Why? Because you're reducing the possibility and the probability of inflammation in your body. It's pretty simple. All right, well, that's it for this week. Next week, what I'm probably going to be going over is really breaking down what the immune system really is, and why autoimmune diseases are incredibly mismanaged, and how most people that have autoimmune diseases in the traditional model of medicine and healthcare, they really have no hope. I mean, they're not going to get better. And I'll be explaining why that is because no one understands the immune system. Okay, until next time, we'll talk to you soon. Have a good day. Bye-bye.